Welcome to Legend Makers, the podcast where education's true heroes take center stage. Yes, we are back with the Legend Makers podcast, and I am pumped for this one. I got right here, look at him, the man, Lenny The Boss Nesmith. Man, I feel like I have known you. We're going to get way into it. Look, Lenny is the founder and CEO, and I'm just going to Kids Real Estate and Financial Literacy Academy, right? Did I get that right?
Absolutely, 100%.
So, man, listen, Lenny, good to see you. Lenny The Boss Nesmith, I love it. You and I have presented on stage together. I feel like I've known you a lot longer than I have. I think we've only known each other about a year.
Yes.
But man, oh man, I feel like I've known you for a long time. Welcome to the pod, my friend. Good to see you.
Scott, thank you. I'm really honored to be here, and I really appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Hey, man, real quick, introduce yourself to the people out there. I could give it, but you know your stuff, man. So you go ahead and tell them what you're all about.
All right, cool, man. Thanks, Scott, again. Hey, my name is Lenny The Boss, Leonard Nesmith. A lot of my students out there like to call me Coach Lenny. But what we have is we have a Kids Real Estate and Financial Literacy Academy. And what we do, we partner with schools, we partner with youth groups, community organizations, and we come to you and we have a 4-pillar program. Pillar 1 is all about mindset and confidence building. Pillar 2, we teach everything about entrepreneurship. Pillar 3 is the financial literacy piece. And Pillar 4 is what we decided to do to make our company different from everyone else. And we teach the youth how to invest in real estate. And we also a firm believer on making sure that you live a designed life and not allow the wind just to blow you in any direction. So we teach the youth how to create smart goals and take everything that's in this noggin of ours and create awesome, amazing vision boards. So I stopped right there, and it's kind of me in a little nutshell.
So for those of you that know me, you know why I like this guy so much. When I met you, I was like, this dude and I have a lot in common. So tell us, that's great. So I think the real estate thing is really cool. I mean, you're out here in Philadelphia area with me. We're both in Jersey, South Jersey. We're Philly people, like we're right across the bridge. Yep. So you work with a lot of the youth in Philadelphia schools and the surrounding area. Tell me, so your story is really cool. I was thinking about you the other day. I was mowing the lawn. Sometimes I listen to headphones when I mow the lawn. Sometimes I just think. And I was thinking about you the last time we presented. I was thinking about some of the things that we were saying to those kids over there in Philly. And you had we were in this whole big conversation in one of my CEO groups about making change. Look what happened look, not that the last one was good and this one is better or bad or good, but look what happens when the Phillies just make a change. They're on a win streak. Sometimes the old GM was good. It's just maybe got a little old, and somebody new comes in, and it's not because they're any better. It's just the change. And you did something when you had a pivotal decision to make in your early childhood or high school, and you chose to change your environment. The proximity principle. So tell us about that, because I think that's a really interesting thing about how you became who you are. Because to me, when I heard that story, that's a super pivotal moment in your life that if you had not made that decision, we may not be having this conversation.
I agree. So let me take it all the way back a little bit.
Yeah.
I always like to start at my humble beginnings with my mother. And my mom, she had 10 children, right? And according to my siblings, I was the lucky one. I was the 10th kid. And we grew up in North Philly. We grew up in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath row home. It wasn't 10 of us. You figure it was my nephew, which is older than me. Okay, I might add. And my mother. My father wasn't around. Unfortunately, he was lost to the streets on drugs. And so it was probably around roughly like 12 of us living in this 3-bedroom, 1-bath home. And truthfully, man, I'm gonna tell you, we were poor. And if there was anything another word, maybe you can help me out with this, guy. Not right now, but later on. If there's another word, underpour, right? Then I need to know what that is, because that is what we were. Okay. However, we were rich in love, and that's what my mother provided with us. She provided like this love, this connection, regardless to what's going on in the streets, because we lived in North Philly. If anyone knows anything about North Philly, it's not a great environment. I mean, just from the street that I grew up on, every single year there was someone that was murdered. Every single year that I can recall. And so you can imagine how many shootings was there, drug dealing, and just a bunch of violence. Okay. So growing up through that, I wasn't the best kid. I was bad, I'm going to say. And an embarrassing moment I like to share, because I'm all about, at this point in time in my life, about owning your story, is that I was so bad, I failed first grade, and
Wow.
it still hurts me to say it, honestly speaking. But truthfully, I was. And it wasn't because I wasn't smart. It just was because I was in the principal's office 3 times a week. And
Mhm.
I knew him on a first name basis. And I don't think in first grade you're supposed to really know the principal first name basis. So I did that, but I had this intelligence about me. So my mother was on my back, of course. School, they're not liking who I am. And I'm like, okay, and I'm getting all these bad grades as well, because all I want to do is cut up with my friends. So I said, how do I get my mom off my back? So I decided, okay, well, if I strive for a D, passing, and she will be so happy because I'm passing, right? She comes off my back. So, but it also gave me the ability to continue to cut up with my friends, hang in the back of the class. We did things with, like, we used to gamble in class, man. We used to take our notebook, right? Check this out. This is gonna be so funny. So
I
you know
love
how you sit next to someone,
I love it.
and we used to have quarters, right? And we spin the quarter, and you
Uh-huh.
close your notebook, right? And then we say, who's matching who. So if you match them, you win. So you open up your notebook and you will look over. And then you say, okay, you owe me one, because at the end of class we'll square up.
Oh
So
yeah, that's
yeah, so
great.
we spinning quarters, we close our notebook, right? And we like, magic. Okay, open it up. Yes, all right. You owe me two.
That's great.
And then at the end of class, we square up. So, so first through eighth grade, I probably got suspended another 10 to 15 times, maybe
So
even more.
were you just a cut up? Were you like a funny guy? Because you strike me as a funny dude. Like you have a high energy to you, and you probably would have had me cracking up. If you and I were in first grade together, it would have been double trouble. You would have had me laughing, right? You would have got me in trouble.
For my friends, but I had a really smart mouth. I talked back a lot, had a really bad attitude. So when someone actually told me to do something, that was like a trigger. Like,
Yeah.
you telling me to do something, it was instant. No, I'm going to do what I want to do, how I want to do it. And obviously, school comes with structure. if
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here following the rules, I'm sitting there trying to do anything I want to do, even when the teacher tells me, calm down. They gave me, believe me, let me tell you, they gave me more than enough grace, my man. So I just decided to, okay, thanks for the grace, but I'm going to continue on what I just started, right? So, so it got up to eighth grade, and in eighth grade, a pivotal point in my life, I owe everything to this guy who had like this high box fade. It's this picture on my mom's wall, my eighth grade picture, and I got like this box, right? It either like a high fade, and I every time I go to my mother's house, I touch the picture. I say thank you, because at that point in time, my mother, she worked night shift all her life, right? And in eighth grade, I don't know why, I can't remember, but she changed to day shift. And all I remember was, man, if I go to high school, in the same high school with all my friends, everyone's going to want to come and cut at my home, because my mother is not going to be there. And I'm like, man. So I decided at that point, honestly speaking, not because I was smart, but I just knew if I continued going down the same path with the same audience, I'm going to continue to do the same thing. So I decided to pick a school outside of my neighborhood, not because it was academically better, but it got me around a group of different people. And that's what I did. And I
And
went
how
off
old were
to,
you? I'm so sorry. How old were you?
so, I guess you're around 14.
That's I
around that
still
time?
find that absolutely, because I was like you, and it never clicked. Like it didn't click till 50 almost. But like seriously, in a lot of ways, like how did you? It's bizarre. Like for me, that is just an amazing thing to be able to do in your situation. And listen, I had every privilege in the world. I'm telling you right now, I'll tell people that I had a rough childhood. It didn't compare to yours. It couldn't have, not even close. So, you know, I think about you in that situation, that environment, that element, a 14-year-old boy who's like, what? I just don't know how you decide to make that decision at a 14-year-old kid that has literally nobody coaching you to do that. Like you did that. That's
Yeah.
why I just find that to be fascinating to me. I don't know.
And that's the truth because again, you got to understand my mother is just seeing this kid who having behavior issues and she's just grateful that I'm getting up going to school every day and getting a passing grade, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so but when I thought about it, like when you're young, especially living in that environment, you grow up pretty fast. Like
Mm-hmm.
and I can see by living in the environment I live in today and seeing my son grow up, because some of them I'm like, son, how you don't know how to do this? Come on. When I was your age, I was, and I gotta stop saying that, but it's the truth. But what I saw was that, a lot of drug dealing happened in my environment. And as the youth got older and became a teen, I saw a lot of my friends starting to step into that world.
Mm.
And they're my friends though. We've been friends, not just school friends, but we also neighbors as well.
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
you went to a different school, you was going to probably be my friend because you lived up the street from me.
Right. Right.
And you just start seeing just things of I never wanted to go to jail. That was a I was
So a
big
good
time into
deterrent.
girls. Yes, I
Okay.
was into girls, and I saw that clearly. Like, hey, if I go to jail, I won't be able to talk to any
There's no
girls, right?
girls.
But I'm also going to tell you something my mother did that I don't even know if she realized it because we never had a conversation about it. But as an older, I realized it is that my mother never put me in position to um sell drugs. And let me explain. So
Yeah.
when you're coming from a neighborhood like mine, an environment, you're very materialistic. And, because you don't have anything. So you want what you don't have. So, you always want the nicest clothes and, Jordans, he was obviously in the league at the time. They were the biggest sneakers to have. And so my mom always allowed me to make sure I had a pair of Jordans, right? So what that did, it didn't allow me to have to go out and do something to get it.
Right.
My
Right.
mother made sure that she probably didn't have 5 or 6 of the whatever shirts, Nietzsche or rayon shirts or 8 ball jackets or whatever the crap we was wearing back then, right? You know those 8 ball
Oh,
jackets.
I
You
know.
remember those?
I think I had one, man. Honest to God, I think I did. I swear I know I did actually. Had
you know,
the colored leather sleeves.
yeah,
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 yeah. That the
yeah.
big 8 ball in the back. I had one. Yeah.
So I know it's going to make a lot of people crack up when they hear that, right? But
Yeah.
I had it. So, and I also realized at a young age is that I was hanging out with that environment and I was like, wow, you here got a pocket full of money and I'm still at the movies with you, paying my own way. I'm still eating at IHOP. IHOP was a big deal back then. I'm still eating at IHOP with you and I'm paying my own food. Now, you might have had hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I might only have 40, but when you're feeding one person, $40 back then, you can go to the movies, get popcorn, soda, chips, and go to IHOP all on $40 and have a
And
bus
have money
pass to
left
catch the
over.
bus. Yeah, so to have a bus pass to go back and forth. So I realized that I didn't have to do what everyone else had to do, and I put that back on my mother. And come to find out, what she did, maybe because she had 9 tries at this before me, is what she did was, she sometimes didn't pay the electric bill, dude, to make sure that I got a pair of Jordans. She
Wow.
sometimes didn't pay the gas bill to make sure that I got that 8 ball jacket. You know what I mean? So now, as a kid, you don't know that these things are going on, but these are the things that she shared at later on, just through conversations as an adult. And those was pivotal things because it didn't allow me to have to do or even want to do because friends, they was like, whenever you're ready, you well to join the organization, join the business, you know what I mean? And I didn't because I didn't feel as though I had to. And I put all that credit with my mother, right? But again, I'm seeing the path that they're going down, and I'm like, that's not the path that I really wanted to go down. And that was the reason why I decided to go to that school outside of my
So you made a decision to go to a different school and get out of the neighborhood and change your environment.
Absolutely.
And what kind of impact did that have? I mean, what?
My God, dude, is it anything bigger than a 360? like if it's anything you could go
full
360
circle, huh?
dude, full circle. I mean, I went to the school, I stopped sitting in the back of the class, started sitting in the front of the class. I just start paying attention, start getting A's and B's, first time ever making the honor roll.
What a
all
transformation.
Because I paid attention, dude. I mean, look, like I said, I was smart, I just never applied myself.
Right.
And when I was there, I wasn't there to cut up. I was there to, I'm still being me, right? I'm still cool. I'm still talking to people, but I'm sitting in front of class. And at that time, I also found out who I was a little bit and how I start to like people because sometimes in the lunchroom, honestly speaking, I was sitting next to nerds. And you want to know why? Because a nerd know who they are. Right? They say I'm a nerd and that's who I am. And other people they fake to be something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's one thing I probably didn't like about the school I went to, or what I saw is that a couple of people just was like, I didn't feel they were genuine. So I'm like, hey, I'd rather hang with the person that's genuine, a nerd, because that's not going to change who I am. But they know who they are, and I'm cool. Hey man, we can talk, and man, that just changed my life. So, at that point, I think 10th grade came. I got my first job downtown Center City, working at a very, very, very nice restaurant. And I was making some good money. I was working 3 days a week. Wednesday nights, Saturday nights, and Sunday brunches. On the Wednesday night, I probably was walking out with like $200 tipped out. For a 10th grader, that's a lot. Saturday night was like double that.
And this is and let's put it into context. Okay. What year is this?
Okay, so this is like 96.
That's $1 million today.
Yes. Yes. So this is like 96. Right. I'm making this type in high school, bought my first car. You know what I mean? In 10th grade.
Legitimately too, though. I mean, working your butt off, right?
100%
right. That's what I'm saying.
But not just that, it gets better. I took up because I went to a Votech school. So you had to pick a trade. So I took up carpentry. And the way it works is 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, the most of your day is spent in shop class. We had a big shop room where we built a 1-bedroom house, a roof, everything, right? And so when 11th grade came, the school partnered up with this company called Impact Services. And what they did was they purchased the house right off of B in Allegheny, and they hired us, right? So check this out. I had 2 jobs in 11th grade. I was going to school from I don't know, 7:30 to let's say 12. And then 12:30 to 4:30, I was working on doing carpentry work on B in Allegheny, fixed up the house. And then on Wednesdays, I would go leave, and then I would drive down to Center City, or before if my car was down, whatever, I just catch the L down to Center City, and I would work a restaurant job, on Wednesday night. So I was a hustler at that time. So I'm making like a lot of money, for not having any bills or responsibilities. Right?
That's right. That's a ton of money.
Right. And that would make me say I want more. Now, let me tell you what really opened up too. By working at that restaurant, this big, I work with a lot of privileged people. Okay? And they took a liking to me, and they just kept pouring in me because they were older, the waiters, the waitresses, and they were like, a waiter, wait, this is their career. This is not I'm working this and I'm going to high school. They're making really, really money, right? And they just kept telling me things to do. They was like, hey, go to school, make sure you do this, take your money, save it. And these were things that I did not hear from a in depth, from a repeated standpoint, from a care standpoint, from anyone in my environment.
Right.
No one in my environment had solid financial literacy skills. And if they did, they sure wasn't the one that was to be able to express it out to others and youth at that.
Yeah.
So, I was getting like financial literacy back in, this is like, again, 96, 97, of what to do with my money and how to save. And they were just open, and they just, because I was a worker, me, I just come in, I'm just doing the thing because you paying me, I'm going to do it. So I'm just doing my thing. And they just was like, oh my God, you're such a hard worker. And they just loved me. I had a pretty good attitude. And I was young and I was a little dude, I looked very young, dude. Like just to get an idea, when I was driving, I used to get pulled over like 2 or 3 times a week. Honestly speaking. Honestly speaking. I'm not even sure. I've never even told you that. I used to get pulled over 2 or 3 times a week. And once the cops see my driver's license, they'd be like, dude, you look like you're 10. It was such a thing where, dude, I got pulled over one time. I drove 3 blocks. 3 blocks. They got pulled over again.
For being, they thought you were an underage driver.
Yeah, and the guy just was like, I'm so sorry. I guess somebody hit him on the speaker and was like, hey, I just pulled that guy over. He's
That's so funny, dude.
But yeah, man. Great. So that's where I start getting my
that's cool.
My financial knowledge and kind of what things I should be doing.
It's just amazing because, again, I look at my son and even me, as much as I will say that I had a tough childhood, and in a lot of ways I did, but nothing like that. I was given privilege young. I got certain things fell my way, but it's amazing to me to be able to pull yourself out by yourself. And now what's cool about that is guys like you, so that do it, open up an opportunity, and this will segue into what you're doing today, of now you can be the person that you didn't have, right? Coming back into the neighborhoods, talking to the kids, talking to the Lenny who's out there today, but doesn't have whatever it is that you had, magic beans. I don't know what it is, because I still say, I drive through some neighborhoods and I'll say this to my son. What do you think the odds of getting out of here are? Who's telling you what to do? Who's showing you? Who has conversations like you and I do? A lot of these kids don't have dads. Their moms are working. They're busy. They got their, I said, look what it, I said, we do. We literally drive up, with I'd be like, what do you think the odds are that a young man or woman born into this gets out? It's not designed to get you out.
Yep.
And so, because but there's people like you that can come in and change that dynamic, because you've been there. You come from there, and somehow you did it on your own, but now you can go back and help kids do it, because some of those kids, sometimes all it takes is just a little in the right direction. Meeting a guy like you and going, oh, I didn't know that was even possible. And hearing your story and going, well, if he can do it, so can I, right? I mean, you're the standard, right? Like, look, he did it, and here he is showing me how he did it.
That's the connection right there. Is that, when I go back to these communities, I am talking to me.
Yeah.
100%. I put my face on that little boy, on that little girl, and I sit here and say the things that I wish someone would have said to me. I'm gonna share a little more of story on another reason why. And you know this more than anyone else. Life is about journey, and life is about experiences. So when I graduated out of high school, I'm starting to say, okay, about to go to college. And I need to find another place to stay. I'm in the girls now. My house is still a little crowded. It's not 12 people in there, but it's way more than enough for me to bring a female friend over, right? And so I started looking into places to live, and there was 3 other people who wanted to get out their situation as well, and they were going to school. So all 4 of us was going to school. So we started looking for apartments to rent, and we couldn't find one that really fit our budget. So this guy, now this was again before, this is to give you an idea, it's probably around 1999, 2000. Okay, just to give you maybe more 99. So this is when any and everyone could get a mortgage.
Yeah.
So we didn't know that at the time, but the guy came up to us, a realtor dude, and he was like, "Hey, why do you guys buy a house?" And we like, "What you mean buy a house?" So he showed us the numbers. He like, "Hey, we can buy a house around this range." He said, "Electric bill will be this, gas bill will be this, water will be this," and we like, "Oh, it's roughly about 300 to 350 per person. I mean, we could do that with our standing on our." So we
Mhm.
started looking for a home. This guy, we found one. We found our first house in the Northeast Philadelphia. We purchased the house, 3 bedroom, basement, everything out, right? We bought the house for $92,000. And it cost us anywhere from 300 to 350 a month per person for everything: the mortgage, the electric, the gas, the
And whose
water,
name was on the
everything.
mortgage? Whose name?
2
All
of
three of
ours.
2 of you. Okay.
Two names was on the mortgage, right? And so boom, so we got it. House, everybody cool. The neighbors is like, who in the world are these young folks? Because we was partying too, just because you college kids, right?
You got a house, man. You're out.
Right, we got a house. Everybody came to our house, so we was considered the young folks partying all the time.
Uh-huh.
On the block. But I worked full time, so I worked. I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning, went to work by 8, was there 4:35, get something to eat. Then I was in school from 6 to 10, 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. And I did that for 4 years straight.
Wow. Yeah.
So we went through that. Obviously, boom, everything great. Maybe I think we had the house maybe the 5 to 6 years, and then appreciated. And we sold it for $220,000.
And I'm sorry, you bought it for 70, 90,
92.
92.
Sold it for 220. But let me tell you something.
Wow.
Like because lack of mentor, lack of understanding what we really was doing. I personally did not know that I was in real estate at the time. It didn't dawn on me. Okay. So, we sold the house. Boom. That's when I moved over to I moved over to New Jersey. And I was working in New Jersey as the vice president of operations. And maybe probably like some years later, I didn't start investing into real estate until I was 33.
Mm.
Okay. So when you think about it, I bought this house when I was 19, and I didn't start investing until I was 33. That's
Yeah.
like 13 to 14 years of missed opportunity. Now, what
Yeah.
if there was a Lenny that came into your high school and talked to Scott and said, Scott, let me tell you the basics about
Oh.
real estate?
Ugh.
You would have had a different trajectory. Right. When you saw that, you probably would have did it again and again and again. You had the
Yeah.
money. Like, we got a lump sum of money. All of
Yeah.
us, we split it up into 4,
Yeah.
and that lump sum of money and the cost of houses back then. And I hate to say it, you could get a mortgage by just blinking your eyes twice and saying that I want a mortgage, right? Back then, because they was giving 120%. Hey,
Yeah.
you want to buy this house? We won't give you 100% of financing, but we'll give you an extra 20%
On top of
that.
it.
So it was very simple to get one back then, and also I had the money for down payment after
Yeah.
we sold the home. But it didn't dawn on me that
Yeah.
I should be in real estate. I missed those years, and I just want to be there to ensure that if there's another individual who get a job, start investing early, who
Yeah.
want to buy, property. Look, buy the property. Here are the steps to buy it for yourself. And then
Yeah.
you are in real. I tell people, when you buy your own personal home, you are in real estate. You are a real estate investor, because you can buy your next house and rent that one out that you just purchased.
Right. 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 Right.
So teach these things, because I don't know what these youth journeys are going to be. I have no.
Right.
But what I want them to be aware of is there's basic principles of things you should be doing when it comes to every dollar that comes through your door. And there's basic principles when it comes to buying properties, buying real estate. And I'm here to ensure that you know those principles so you can build off of that. That means that you can ask questions because you understand the foundation that I'm giving you here. Hey, here's your basic savings. Make sure that you have a budget. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
that, every dollar comes in, percentages are taken off because as you grow, you want that bucket to grow as well. And you don't want a fixed number there. You don't want to say, I only take $20 out. Yeah, because
Percentages.
take
Yeah.
$100 today, you take 20 out. You're gonna make 5,000 tomorrow, and guess how much you're gonna take? 20 out. You only
Right.
have,
Right. Right.
a
Right.
figure.
Right.
So like these basic principle things will take you so far. And also teaching them about credit. Scott, you know the deal. We had the conversation about credit. Credit can put you, I say, when you die and they put you in that casket, they bury you 6 feet deep.
Mm-hmm.
I say one of the ways that you can go 6 feet deep living
It's
is
credit debt.
credit debt.
Horrible. Horrible.
But the problem is when you're dead, you're not trying to climb out.
Right.
When you're alive, who in the world can climb out of a hole that's full of soil and 6 feet deep and you're only
No.
5 foot? You
It's
understand?
tough. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's tough. It's challenging to do, and so I'm teaching them not to be, don't put yourself in those predicaments, teaching them a difference between good debt versus bad debt,
Yeah.
how to
Right.
leverage credit, in their way. So, these are just all
It's
the
great.
principal foundational things that because of my journey, because of the things I learned, and I was able to put in practice. I'm teaching what I practice, man.
Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, I've always been I'm wishing I had somebody like you. I say that all the time because I made good money too back in the day, but I didn't know what to do with it. Right? Like I spent it. I'm a really good earner and spender. At least I used to be a good spender. I've cut that back. But in early days though, it was money rolling, money spending. And I wasn't putting my money to work for me. And I'm trying to drill that into my son of like financial literacy is so important. So important. Investing is so important. Putting your dollars to work for you. I mean, what I hear, stock up on assets and limit those liabilities, right? Like don't create more than you consume and live that kind of a lifestyle. Try to live well below your means. I always wanted to keep up with the Joneses to prove to people that I'd made it. And I was, one step away from homelessness, but I'm driving a Mercedes. And I mean, that's a lot of people out there today. So
Oh my
I
God.
I had wished that I had had a guy like you come and talk to me when I was even in my 20s, right? Like not even in my teens, but teens is even better. I mean, it's time is on your side when you're young, man. The younger you start, the better off you'll be.
Oh man,
So,
yes.
I mean, as you know that. So what tell us about your program? Like is you're local here. Like if people want to engage with you, what if they are in Chicago? I mean, people all over the country are going to listen to this. Like what happens if they're in Florida or Chicago or California? And because I think you got a great program and I think you got we could bottle you and ship you around, right? Tell us about that. Like what do they do
Awesome.
if they want to talk to you?
Yeah, so a few things. One, if there's a youth organization or a school that would like to have me come, we travel. I have traveled as far as we're here on the East Coast, Philadelphia area. I travel all the way to Riverside, California. Okay. So you
Yeah.
can't go any further than that, right? So we will travel with no problem. But we also, for parents who want to sit here and say, man, I really like what's going on over there. I want my kid to be or kids to be involved. We also have an online community where they can come into our
Mm-hmm.
community and they can learn these things as well. We have
Yeah.
on-demand videos. I personally come in, go live, a few times a
Mm.
month. We have Q&As, what we go through. We also adding new stuff, which, I'm talking to you, working with you, you showed me a couple of things that you're doing. I'm like,
Oh
ah,
yeah.
so
Nice. All
so
right.
so
All
so we,
right.
we're constantly always upgrading, the community to ensure that again, you are most prepared. One of the things that, I think I was sharing with you that we have done recently is that we're doing these career cards. One of the things that we do is, which I think is great, is asking youth what they want to be when they grow up. I think that's awesome because it really gets them to start to dream. And life is about that. Before you could do anything, you have to dream it, you have to see it, and then you could make it an object, and then go after it. But what I don't think that we spend enough time on is asking them what they want their life to look like when they're an adult.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Because truth be told is it's going to come with a cost. Period. That's just the way it works. I don't care if you say, I want a tiny house with the smallest bathroom. I don't need a living room, a bedroom. I'm not even going to drive a car. I'm going to catch public transportation. Guess what? You still need money to get public transportation. And that little tiny house, you still need electric, water, and maybe gas, and you still some type of groceries. You're going to need insurance, and the government want their hands in it, so they got to pay taxes. So it's going to come with a cost. Or if you want a 5-bedroom home, 6-car garage, pool the size of
it's all Jamaica,
relative. Right, all relative. The problem is that I found out is that the career that you're picking and choosing does not support the life that you want to live.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So what's happening here, which is a lot of people are going to school, which is great. They're getting in $150,000 worth of debt. Yeah. And then they're coming home to their parents, which is all right, to reset. But then they find out, oh my God, I have this large student loan, but the job that I can get is only going to pay me $45,000.
Yeah.
And even if I had some experience, it's going to pay me 60 or 65 or 70 if I'm great. And 70,000 is just not enough to pay that student loan, take those trips that you mentioned you wanted to take to Bora Bora and Japan and Thailand and, get with Scott and he'll tell you anything about Europe, right? You're not going to be able to do them. Yeah, but what happens? Right. But they do them, Scott. You know what happens? Scott says, hey, Len, going to Europe. Do you want to go? I know damn well I don't got no money. But you know what I do have? Credit card. And I swipe it on the credit card, and all you're doing is now you went from 6 feet to 8 feet to 10 feet, and eventually you're going to drown. And what does that bring? That brings stress.
Oh,
and if it brings stress to you, that means that it's going to bring stress to the people around you. You're going to be stressed out with your friends, so your friendships is probably not going to be the best. Your relationships are probably not going to be the best. If your significant other, your relationship with your parents, because everybody going to look at you to be, why are you so angry? And typically when you're in that position, you're pointing to the world, right? Is your fault. Scott, is your fault because you invited me to Europe. Right? It's your fault, right? And all right, so what I'm doing now is I'm talking to the youth saying, hey, what do you want to do? We're writing all these things down. And then I'm showing them what that looked like and say, hey, this job that you're looking to get, this is what this is going to pay. Here's the numbers. Here's what you're being left out. And the youth is sitting back saying, broke.
That doesn't align. Doesn't map up. It doesn't map.
And now they're changing and saying, you know what? I think I need to change my occupation data. Because look, you said something earlier, Scott. You said, hey, when I was making all this money, I didn't have someone to tell me what to do with it. Right? Well, these youth are only looking at the individuals that's around them.
Yeah.
And saying, oh, my dad or my mother or my aunt look like she lives a great life and this is what she does. So this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And they're not seeing that big picture. And I'm coming in, showing them the big picture, and I'm having that transformation on. I don't want you to stop screaming and living, go to Thailand, go to Bora Bora. I want you to say, these are the ways, and this is the job or business or whatever you want to do.
This is how I'm going to get there. That's right.
It's
such a smart way to look at life. I never was taught that. I was never talked to like that. It was always because we grew up. I'm a little older than you. So I'm pretty much a boomer. I'm an early Xer, a late boomer. I'm right on the cusp. So, I'm getting up, and man, my generation, we were never talked to like that. Like, it was just go to school, get a job, retire. It's like nobody ever talked about, thinking about, and I love the way you frame it in terms of it's so funny you say this, because I have these conversations with my son. Like, look, you can live, you don't have to you have to understand, be real with yourself. What kind of life do you want to live? That's the one. Like, do you want opulence? Do you want to live like this? Do you want to live like smaller house? Do you want a house at the shore? Are you more of like a city person? Do you want to live? And what kind of things do you like to do? Do you want to travel? Do you want to have vacations? Do you want to raise a family? And then you have to be real about, like, well, what does that look like? And then just live below your means, whatever that is. It's not a judgment thing, right? Your thing could be, I want a very simple life. I don't want all of that. I want a nice little home. But to your point, all that stuff comes at a cost, but it's like understanding, what do you want and why, and not what do you want to do. It's what design your life. You said it when we first started out. Like, design your life and then figure out how to achieve that life that you want. And it's different for every single person, right? It doesn't say go be rich. It says design the life that you want. That's all this matters. And then figure out the right way to get there. Stay out of debt. Stay out of awful consumer debt, right?
Yes.
Leverage debt's different if you understand the principles and how to use it and all that stuff. But like, just credit card, consumer credit debt, it's the devil. It'll kill you. It'll absolutely drown you. So, it's amazing. I mean, you and I could do this all day. We're going to link to, where do you like people to find you most? Like, are you LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, like what, all of the above? We'll link to everything. Of
course, you got to be all the above, correct? So you could catch me on LinkedIn. Obviously, on LinkedIn, I'm going to be talking more business, type of things. And however, I reach out to me on LinkedIn, Leonard Nesmith on LinkedIn, and Instagram or Facebook. You're more than welcome to look up Lenny the Boss. Real easy.
Lenny the Boss.
Lenny Theboss, Lenny the Boss, or Leonard Nesmith. You'll find me there. And I put out a lot of content when it comes to just who I am, so you can get an idea of the life that I live, the person that I am. I also put out a lot of content of the schools and the youth groups that we go to, and the things that we teach and go over, and you can clearly see, what we're teaching, and you clearly see the transformation in the students. So you can follow me there.
Great. And what's your website? Give them the website.
kidsrealestateacademy.com. Again,
kidsrealestateacademy.com.
Realestateacademy.com.
So go there. I'm going to link to everything in the notes. Len, dude.
Yeah.
Always, I love it, man. You're great. You're an amazing guy. You really are an amazing guy. Thank you for coming on, man. I really do appreciate this. This is
Scott, no, thank you. I really appreciate it. This was fun. Willing to do it anytime. That, Scott.
Got it, man. We'll do a live one. You and I are going on a road show too, by the way.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right,
go ahead. Announce it right now. We're going to make
on a
this
road
come
show.
true. Let them know, Scott.
We are, Len and I, we work with junior achievers. Oh, hey, can everybody else hear that? I can hear it. You and I work with junior achievers, right? We do the junior achievers. We go and we mentor. We do a lot of grading. We do young entrepreneur events all out here in Philadelphia. And we get a lot of times we get to get on stage together and have conversations with the kids. It's always a blast. If you ever want Len and I to come and talk to your kids, we're open for the road show. All right, my friend, I'm going to change that up right now. And I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you.